Hello, Rimfire friends. I thought I would film a quick video just showing the magazine specifics for this BSA Supersport 5. I figured I would because I know I talk about it often, wanting to be kind of like a resource for strange and obscure rimfires, and really this magazine is one of the most rare ones you can find, and basically unobtainium in a lot of circumstances. I know in the UK there was some reproductions made. I think I've read they were made out of plastic, but they haven't been available in many years. So finding a magazine for one of these is pretty rare and scarce, or hard to do. So I thought I'd kind of quickly show you what they're all about in a little bit more detail. I know that, like on YouTube, you can't find any kind of or can't find much information about them in general. So I thought I would just go a little bit more in detail and show you guys what it looks like. I'm going to be using a Savage Mark II mag as a comparison because so many of you know what these are all about and the sizes and that sort of thing. So this is a 10-round magazine from a Savage Mark II. So the magazine itself is a little bit wider than a standard Mark II magazine, and that is, of course, because the catch is built in. Now, the catch is kind of like a pretty straightforward affair. It just has this body and then a spring action on the backside. So it functions exactly like a magazine release would on a Mark II, for example, or a CZ, only it's built into the mag. Now, I think the reason they do that is because on the rifle itself, the housing is built into the magazine well is built into the entire trigger housing, and it's like a one-piece aluminum affair. And I would imagine they thought that it would be probably more economical to make them on the mag, and they had done so on the previous Supersport series of rifles, and those are not interchangeable with this one. So I think they did it this way, like they changed the magazine again because of the adjustable trigger on this model. So I think that's why. The downside to that is that if this magazine becomes lost because this rifle is so scarce, you're hooped for a replacement. So I thought I'd just show you what they look like. Anyway, so it has a slide-off bottom metal piece, like any standard magazine would have, right? Kind of very similar. You can see that it's a little bit larger than a Mark II. And I think that has to do with the absolutely gorgeous spring. And actually, I'm going to get a piece of white paper to contrast. Give me a second. So I just got a piece of white paper to contrast this for you. Now, forgive the dirt and stuff that comes out of this magazine, but look at the spring on this beauty. It is so different than a typical round wire spring that you would find in a magazine. This is literally like a leaf spring, and certainly an unusual magazine spring. It actually reminds me more of like a centerfire pistol magazine spring than a rimfire, but absolutely beautiful. And when I first got this and I was cleaning it up, there was a strange red paint, and it's now all but gone. You can see maybe a little bit there if I can focus. And I thought it was rust, but it was like a strange paint, and it did all come off in the solvent that I had. It was mostly off inside the magazine anyway. And then we have, if it would cooperate, I need a pokey device. We have a follower here. This is I would have thought it was stainless, for example, but it wasn't. There was rust all over it. So it's kind of like a stamped sheet metal affair bent over. It would have been quite a large piece when they folded it. And it's quite, as followers go, it's quite large. Like if you were to compare it to anything modern, it's at least 50% bigger, maybe even double than the average follower would be. And I think, I'm not quite sure why that is. It might be because it guarantees smoothness within the mag, because you don't get the follower wanting to move around, which happens in some magazines. And when I got this rifle, it was giving me feeding problems, and it took more than a couple of seconds before I figured out that actually this feed lip was bent, like almost like somebody had dropped it. And so the rounds were sitting lower than they should be, but also one-sided. And it's still not perfect, but before I mess around with these lips too much, I want to wait till I get to the range and check it, because I can only do so much checking at home. So it's very easy to adjust to the range. So I just kind of left it, and I'll adjust it more when I actually check the feeding. But that's basically it. Other than the absolutely lovely magazine spring, the internals are like any, box mag from a rimfire rifle. This one is no different, other than it has this magazine catch, and it has a single rivet which has been peened over, and I would pull it to show you guys the actual catch, but because it's been peened, I don't really feel like drilling that out and getting it out for the purpose of this video, because of the value and scarcity of this mag. And like I mentioned in my first video about it, the spring is normally the issue. The rust gets to the spring, and this one's pretty nice. It's not super rusty, and neither is, I've certainly seen way worse springs in my time than this one. This one's only got some kind of surface basic rust on it. So maybe that paint that was originally there served a purpose. But anyway, and then putting it back together is pretty much in reverse order. And like any magazine, right? Pretty straightforward. It just goes back together like that. And then this base plate actually slides on about as easy as any mag I've ever had. So, but anyway, when you compare them, they're essentially just like a standard rimfire mag, other than this beautiful leaf spring and this larger follower, and of course the integral mag catch. Anyway, I'm going to leave this very simple video here. I hope this helps somebody out who's looking to make one of these, or has one of their own that's maybe missing a spring or whatever. I'm sure a regular spring could be adapted to fit just with some custom lengths. But anyway, I'll leave it here. Any questions or comments, leave them below, and I'll do my best to answer them. But if not, I'll catch you guys at the next one.